So you might actually have a psychic ability that you don't know you have. And I'm going to try my best to help you understand what that ability is and how to better manage it. If you're new here, my name's Angie. I'm a psychic medium and a channel. I work with a team who call themselves the Wisdom Keepers, and I do channel every single Wednesday here on YouTube live if you'd ever want to tune in and just listen. If you want to ask questions during channelings, you're welcome to join my Ascension membership, and you can get onto a private Zoom link with me and ask as many questions as you would like. So let's dive into this. I have this belief that everybody is psychic, not just me, not just certain people that you see online. I really believe this is just a normal part of being a benevolent, beautiful being of energy because our true self is not our human self. This body is not going to exist one day, but my soul continues for eternity. It gets to have any experience it wants to have. But why it's here, I am not separated from my true self. I just believe I'm separated from my true self because that's part of what the physical experience is about, is having an opportunity to discover what does it feel like to not be connected to myself fully? What does it feel like to be shut off from my original self? But as we go through this experience, and especially when you begin your healing journey or you begin awakening, you start reawakening parts of yourself, and you maybe have had these all your life and not realized it. But when you start to have an awakening and you do some healing work and you start discovering some of your spiritual gifts, you might discover, oh, I am psychic. I can tell what people are feeling or sensing, or I can pick up on subtle clues around me and notice things. One of the things that I notice, this might be a simple little thing that you think might not be a psychic ability, but when I'm driving my car, it's almost like I can see what is going to happen before it's going to happen. Like if I'm driving down the road and I see a car above in front of me that something just seems off. They might not be doing anything, but in my mind, I might see them getting in front of me or suddenly stopping, or maybe something taking place with that car that puts me in alert saying, I need to be careful because something's about to happen here. And the funny thing is about 99% of the time when I have that feeling, it actually happens. It may be 5 seconds, 10 seconds, or even a minute after I have the feeling. But that little subtle feeling within you is a psychic ability, is a premonition of this is something that could be taking place around me in the very short future, and I need to pay attention. Because here's the thing is your soul, your spirit isn't just contained within the physical vessel. Your spirit is wide and open and all around you. So if you could imagine that your spirit is, let's say, 5 or 10 feet in front of you and all around you, really, what I recently heard that really blew my mind was that our spirit could be as big as a football field around us. So if you imagine being able to pick up things that far in front of you and you're driving down the road, so your spirit is ahead of you before you get there. So it's sending back signals to you to tell you, watch out, this could be coming. Pay attention to this. Feel this, notice this. Then if we feel it and notice it, we can react and respond appropriately. But there are times that we don't notice it because we're not paying attention to the subtle shifts in our energy. We might just be going about our day and not even have a clue that all this stuff is coming back to us. And we're just going through our life wondering, why does this keep happening? Or why does why did that happen in front of me and I didn't notice? It doesn't mean you spend every single waking moment tuning in to every psychic ability you have. It just means that you are so aware of yourself that when it does come, you pay attention to it. It's not a hyper awareness, it's just a subtle understanding of yourself. I know myself, I know my energy well enough that I can pick up on those subtle shifts and changes around me. That is a example of clear sentience. That is a clear knowing. It's a clear feeling, or it's a clear feeling, it's a clear sensing of something outside of me. So, how would clear sentience show up in other ways of your life? So, let's dive into it. One of the biggest things that completely changed the way I work with my psychic abilities was understanding that I feel what other people feel. And it took me a while to fully grasp this because what I was doing was sensing and feeling people my whole life. But when I really started working on my psychic abilities, and even when I started to offer readings to people, before I got onto a call with somebody, because I do all my readings over Zoom, I started to notice, and this was years ago, I feel really anxious right before I get on this call. But 15 minutes before it, I felt fine. I was looking forward to it. I felt like I was already getting messages. I was excited to give these messages to this person. And then all of a sudden, I just got overwhelming anxiety. And I'm like, where did this come from? I always thought it was mine. So I would get on this call feeling anxious, like, oh my gosh, I hope I do this right. I hope I bring through the right thing. And I always did. But as I continued to get to know myself, sitting with my own energy, getting to know myself more, I started realizing I'm picking up on that person's energy instead of mine. So before I would get on a call and I would start feeling this anxious feeling within me, I would always take a note. I didn't feel anxious before this came on me. This must be their energy. And then as soon as I get on the call with them, the first thing I addressed is, do you feel anxious right now? Are you nervous? Are you having some anxiety? And they're always like, yes, oh my goodness, I'm so nervous. I haven't ever done this before. I don't know what to expect. And I knew immediately this is theirs, not mine. So I was able to release that energy as my own, clear out my energetic field, expand it and open it, and get more of a clear connection with the spirit realm and with them. So you could be walking around your world not even having a clue that what you feel and whether it's anxiety, anxiousness, fear, hopelessness, anger, all this stuff, you could actually be picking up energy from other people around you, thinking it's yours. So the way that you handle this is you get to know your own energy. How do you do that? Meditation, sitting with your energy, knowing yourself deeply, doing shadow work. All of that is going to give you the ability to pick up subtle different changes in your emotions to know, is this my emotion or is this someone else's emotion? Another thing that could be taking place in your energy field, if you are clairsentience, that you may not be aware of, is that if you go into certain settings, you could feel overwhelmed and you could feel the energy of that location. This has come up for me a lot with thrift stores. When I go into a thrift store, it's almost like I'm walking into a crowd, like a concert, because I can feel all of the energy from every person that ever owned any of that stuff in that thrift store. I will never forget. This was about 4 years ago. I walked into a thrift store and I was visiting a friend in California, and something about that particular thrift store was so overwhelming in its energy. As soon as I walked in, I got nauseous, I felt dizzy, I started having vertigo, I started feeling like my stomach was like upset, and I knew immediately I need to get out of here. I did not have any protection up around me, which was my fault. I didn't think about protecting myself before I went into a setting like this. But I had been in settings like that and been able to handle it. However, this particular store, for some odd reason, really overwhelms me. And I could feel as soon as I walked out of that store, all of it left me. However, I continued to carry that with me the rest of the day. and attempted to explain to the person I was with, this is what happened to me when I walked into that store, because she didn't have a gift like that. She didn't feel the energy like I did. So I had to help her understand this was my energy and my reaction. And yes, we can protect ourselves in these settings, but you have to be aware that you even have this gift to be able to protect yourself. And at the time, I knew I was sensitive, but I didn't know I was that sensitive. So if I go into any setting like that now, I absolutely 100% but put a bubble of light around me, say a little bit of a prayer, do some protective energy work, and then I can go through one of those stores. Very rarely do I go into them anymore, though, just because I don't really enjoy the feeling of it. Another thing that you might notice in your clairsentience or your abilities is you might actually pick up on other people's physical pain. This is a very rare gift as well. I also have this gift, and it can be a little frustrating because I might have a pain in my body and I might think for days or even a month that there's something wrong with me. What is going on? Why is this hurting? And then I'll meet somebody who has the exact same problem in their body, and I'll think, oh, this was theirs the whole time. And this is the crazy thing about this is if you are really, really hypersensitive like me, you might feel things in other people's energy before you even meet them. Because if you are connected to another person in any type of way, and then you're predicting spending time with this person, you're already picking up on that energy. Just like what I was talking about when you're driving down the road, your energy is already there. So your energy's giving you feedback from what you're about to walk into. And I will never forget this happened. About 2 years ago. I was getting ready to go to a training in another state, and I needed to fly there and take a ferry over to an island. It was like this big trip for me. And about 3 weeks before this trip, I started having really bad pain in my right side. And it was around the kidney area. And I thought, oh no, I am going to have a kidney stone. And I've had three kidney stones. And so if you know anything about those, they're super painful. One of them I had to have a surgery for. Did not want to go through that experience again. However, I just said some prayers and thought, I'm still going to go on my trip and hopefully this will go away. Well, I went on my trip and it continued. And about the second day of this training, I decided to share with the group that I was in that I was having this pain just in case I needed to run to the restroom or something happened. And so I sat with them and I let them know, hey guys, I'm having this pain. I just want to give you a heads up. I don't know what's going on. It kind of feels like kidney stone, but I'm not 100% sure. And they were like, okay, well, we'll hold space for you in that. And then before you know it, the person beside me shares and she starts talking about kidney pain. Then the next person starts talking about kidney pain. Then the next person starts talking about kidney pain. And the teacher that I had at the time looked at me and said, do you realize what is taking place here? And all of a sudden, poof, it came into my mind, and I realized I have been picking up on these people's energies 3 weeks before I even met them. And as soon as I realized it wasn't my energy, it left. And I didn't have any problems. I haven't had a problem since then. Now, I will notice this even with subtle things. For example, I was with a friend the other day. We like to go mountain biking together. And my foot, my ankle started hurting about an hour before we went mountain biking. And I thought, this is odd. There's no reason. I haven't done anything today. And so I went ahead and went, and it was fine. And then the whole rest of the night, my foot was hurting. Well, my friend has had a surgery on her ankle and has some metal in her ankle and will often talk about her ankle hurting. I was picking up on her ankle energy, on the injury in her ankle as if it was mine. So I have to be very, very careful about what I pick up from other people and how I hold it in my energy field and in my body because I can physically feel it. I feel everything deeply. And this is why when I get on a call with somebody or I'm meeting with somebody or I'm about to have interactions, I have to be okay with myself. I have to know where I am in order to sit with someone else so I don't merge their energy into my own body, into my own energy field. I can keep their energy separate from mine, and I can still continue to do what I need to do. So, if you have any of these taking place in your life, maybe this will give you a little bit of a clue what is actually happening. And again, the way that you handle this is by knowing your own energy. If you're not 100% sure how to do that, you're more than welcome to schedule a session with me and we can dive into your energetic field and I can give you a little bit of tools or understanding about how you specifically might be able to protect yourself or work with the energy around you. And that this is something I think probably everybody would benefit from, to be able to understand how to manage their energy anyways. So whether you have a call with me or not, my biggest recommendation is to at least spend 5 to 10 minutes a day in your own energy, just sitting with yourself in meditation, so you can feel the subtle shifts that take place in your energy field and you can separate all the things that are not yours from you so you can stay clear and focused on your own life. I hope this was helpful for you. If you would please leave a comment or like and subscribe if you are new here, I would love that. And if you have a friend that has all these feelings or sensations, send this video to them. Maybe this will help them as well. I hope you have the best day, night, evening, whatever time it is for you. I send you all the universal love. Namaste.